The peace of the Lord be with you. Welcome to Pcgtv Sports, and I'm talking about sports time with Jerome. Today we speak to a very important personality in our sports. He recently led Ghana to host the 2023 Africa Games. He's a lecturer at GIMPA and also a management consultant and a very experienced sports broadcaster. I'm talking about Dr. Kwaku Ofosu Asare. We'll go for a break and we'll continue the chat. Welcome back. Today for our scripture for the day, we go to Psalm 34 verses 4, and I read, I prayed to the Lord, and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Psalm 34 verses 4. This was David expressing his confidence in the Lord. He was troubled. He had so much on him, but he said he sought the Lord, and the Lord delivered him from all his fears. The encouragement to you out there watching us today is that if you are troubled, go to the Lord, and he will deliver you from all your trouble. Welcome back from the break. As I told you earlier, we are speaking to Dr. Kwaku Ofosu Asare, who is or was the LOC chairman for the recently held Africa Games, where to many people, Ghana excelled, winning medals and also trailing the many fans who were at the Legon Sports Stadium and other places to watch our athletes and those that came from other parts of the continent. Today we have the privilege to speak to the man who spearheaded the whole exercise. Doc, welcome to Pcgtv Sports.
Thank you very much
Sports
for the
Chat with Jerome.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, I should be thanking you for having the privilege of hosting you. I mean, as we do on this channel, when we meet our guests, we always want to delve a little into their lives on the faith level and find out whether they even know God. If they know God, do they serve God well? And when I spoke to you the first time, one thing that you said that gladdened my heart, in fact, it was a pleasant surprise, was that you're a Presbyterian.
Yes, I am.
That was an exciting news.
Yeah.
How has faith, the issue of God, shaped your life and everything that you have done, I mean, growing up to this level?
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I'm a strong believer in God. I actually love God. God is my everything. And so I go by this philosophy. Everything happens for a reason, and God knows why. So I don't get bothered at all when something happens to me. That has helped me through and throughout my life, especially when I lost my child in London and I came back when I lost my mom and I had a few challenges. Anytime anything happens, that's my consolation philosophy.
To be honest with you, the bit about your child is something I didn't want to talk about because yesterday was the first time I got to know of it.
Oh, really?
Yes, when I was reading about you online, and I felt like this man has gone through a lot, but he doesn't even show it. What is it that has, yes, I mean, you mentioned God, but what is it that has kept you?
It's my faith in God. You know, God has brought me very far. As you said, I started schooling. I went to Presbyterian primary school, Akwamufi, I moved to Accra. But the most important thing is that I lost my father before I started schooling. I was a small boy.
I see.
Yeah, so it's been God who has seen me through all this time. And if I tell you where I started schooling, you'll be surprised. I started schooling at a front place.
I see.
Yes, and I spent 2 years there after I lost my father at a place called Jerome. Then I was walking about 4 miles or so to school at a place called Somusei. And then I was lucky, they took us away from there. My mom came for us later on. And then I ended up at Akwamufi, where I come from. So I schooled there. The training was very, very strict. I went to a place called Anyesu. It's also a Presbyterian school. I remember one important incident. My mother wanted me to accompany her on a Sunday to go and collect something from somewhere. So we had to go and seek permission from the head teacher because I was going to absent myself from Sunday school. The teacher said, well, it's your choice. He has to be at Sunday school. If he doesn't come, Monday, we'll have
Lashes. Wow.
So, and then from there we moved to Akomufie, and it's still there. The Presbyterian school is close to where the head pastor is, the Reverend Minister.
Okay.
And at that time, for instance, the Reverend Minister would just open the window and shout, one boy, from class 1 to class 6, we all had to run out. And then the one who got ahead, after one person gets ahead, then we all come back. He needed one boy to send, so he would disrupt the class.
I see.
And we had to go to sweep the compound, sweep the plot, go to Sunday school and all that. So that training, even when the door is open, you have to walk. You have to knock. Even if the door is open, you can't just walk in, you knock.
Would you say...
So all these things contributed to shaping me before I left Akomufie for Accra, Mamprobi. I went to Simple Boys, Salvation Army, and all that. And then I went back to my village for my secondary school,
So,
university, and then...
Yeah, so in a nutshell, is the Presbyterian discipline,
the discipline
you had from the beginning that has kept you to this point. But
and my strong faith in God.
okay, so how did you get into sports? Because, I mean, for those of us who know you, I mean, the first time I saw you was somewhere in the mid-90s on TV, particularly Sports Beat.
Yeah.
How did you get into sports?
Yes. Let me quickly chip in this. My big brother, the one that I directly come after, is a Reverend Minister, Presbyterian Reverend Minister.
Oh, I see. Where?
One mother, one father. He heads the district at Kasua.
I see.
Okay, so back to your question. Yeah, at school, I was an average player, football. I was an average player. So, and then I played table tennis. I was the number 3 on the list. We had...
In your school?
In my school.
Which school is that?
Akomman,
okay.
Just before Kosovo. After the bridge, we were closer to the bridge. And so I was an average player. And I compared that to my performances in class. And I realized that in class, it was better than on the field. So I ended up focusing. I tried they recruited me for course, but I was brief. So I wasn't that excellent, playing and all that. But when we finished the university, then GBC decided to have a new program called Sports Beat.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were auditioned. Myself, Kwabena Japan, Kwabena Yeboah, was it Carl was there, or Carl joined us later? And a host of us were auditioned. Those days you couldn't just walk in and sit behind the console and start talking. So we were auditioned and were selected. So right from the university, I was thrown into the public eye. So we started the Sports Beat. It was Nianu Thompson was the host, and then Papa Pencil also. He was then doing his national service at GBC, also hosted. Then we started in 1985. So in 1988, I was asked to host. So I started hosting. And that was how I was very much involved in sports broadcasting. Actually, I was very passionate about sports. There was one incident that we almost got into trouble.
Tell me about
I was
it.
in Form 5. Myself and some 2 good friends of mine, Kotoko were at Akosomo to play Akotes. And the headmaster came out to give strong instructions, strong warning. No one should go to the stadium to watch. The 3 of us.
You went.
On our way, we had an accident. So the car just ran. I think the car had just come from a workshop. The brakes were not working. And when we got there, it was shouting. We jumped into it. And on our way, just in front of the ATL, the Texas company, there was a parked vehicle. We didn't know that this guy didn't have a brake. These brakes were not working, I should say. All we heard was, yeah. We ran into it. We got down, we asked each other, are you hurt? No. Just quickly went and jumped into the next available car and went to school. We would have been dismissed if they had found out. So it tells you about, so I was following the teams, Akotes, Kotoko, for instance, were very passionate about Kotoko at that time. And then at the University of Ghana, for instance, I was also passionate about a lot. I'm disclosing this for the first time. A lot of people didn't know. I didn't disclose it because when I was hosting the sports program, I wanted to be as neutral as possible to be able to serve all clubs.
Well, I can bet that I have not seen, where your affinity lies until now.
Yes.
Because, watching you those times, you could hardly tell where you sit. We're going to come back to Kotoko maybe at the end of this interview, but tell me about this. You've covered local football, international football, Black Stars. Then recently we hear your name as LOC chairman for executive chairman for the Accra 2023 Africa Games. How did it happen?
Well, I was called by then the Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Isaac Kwame Siamo. So just asked me. Already we had good relations before that, and after that we still were very good friends. So he asked me to drop my CV. There was a project he wanted us to do, so he had my CV, but he said, "Oh, can you send me your CV again?" and all that. A very nice, affable guy. So I dropped my CV. And that was it. I didn't know anything about the LOC, the African Games. No, I didn't know anything. I didn't know. So then he arranged for Dr. Ofosu and Sambe, his soul rest in peace, to meet me, because I knew Dr. Ofosu and Sambe. We had a meeting. He was telling me about the LOC and was saying that, okay, on this day, I think it was October 12, 2020, the president will want to inaugurate the LOC and you have to be there as a chairman. So I said, in what capacity? As a chairman. So, okay. So we go to the Jubilee House and we inaugurated. And after that, the president pulled me aside and spoke to me.
Okay. We will come back from the break and go into the work you did. We'll go for a break and we'll come back and Doc will continue. Welcome back. Doc was telling us about how the president pulled him aside and perhaps encouraged him to get a good job done. He actually did a good job, but we want to understand exactly what he did. So, Doc, you took over and there were challenges. I'm interested in this because, in my view, you braved the storms to get a job done. How did it all go for you?
As I was saying, the president whispered a few words. That was my first time that we were having that personal contact interaction. And those words kept ringing in my mind or my ears all the time. And it was like, I'm not going to tell you the exact words, but it was a source of confidence. Look. So anytime, so he had reposed a huge confidence in me. And then I made a team, good team, we started working. But the issue is, this is our country. I've sat on TV to talk about sports for many years, over close to 3 decades, since 1985, when I came out of university after my first degree. We've been talking about how to get things done. We've been criticizing, we've been saying this. Now you've got opportunity. Your country is hosting the African Games for the first time. And it's since it was established in 1965. You've been given the opportunity to steer affairs. It's like a huge privilege.
Yeah.
Out of the 32 million people. It's not because of my knowledge, it's not because of my looks and all that. So I saw it as a privilege. And also my faith in God. It's God who gives us a position.
Yeah.
And so if you have been given a position, God says that you need to serve people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you don't have to lord over people.
Sure.
He has given you the position to serve your country. He knows why he made me a Ghanaian. So if Ghana is doing something, I've been given the opportunity, I need to serve and serve them well.
Yeah.
So that was really what kept me going. And so whatever happened, I needed to steer the ship to a safe place and to anchor it very well. So we came together and there were challenges. Initially, where to even our office and all that. We looked for a place. They said it was too expensive. We later ended up at the stadium.
The stadium at some point, yeah.
I didn't have the furniture you are seeing now. I had a small sofa with my own laptop. And we worked for about 6 months or so using our own vehicles. Myself, Dr. Usu and Sam, may so rest in peace, Mr. Rex Probe. So myself as the chairman. But then I went to the minister, Honorable Garcia. I said, look, I'm not going to be a ceremonial chairman. If the box stops at my end, then I have to be an executive chairman.
Yeah.
Because initially it was like, oh, you go for a meeting, you sit down, after that you go away. It's the coup who runs the place. They were looking at a model from what transpired in 2008.
And 8, yeah.
I said no. So from there, I went to the president. We had a meeting. I said, Mr. President, if you want me to do the job and the box is going to stop at my end, then I have to be in there to see to the day-to-day running of the business. So then the position changed from a chairman to executive chairman.
What really changed apart from the name?
What changed was that I had to put whatever I was doing consultancy, I was lecturing, I had to put everything on hold and to be here every day.
24 hours.
24 hours. Because I realized that huge responsibility. We haven't hosted this before. We didn't have the blueprint. It's the first time that we are doing, and I had to be really, really involved to assist the chief, to be the three of us, the chief operating officer, the deputy chief operating officer, and myself. So we were there every day. We come to wake up, we come to work.
You know, for the local fan out there, one way of telling whether the competition was going to come on or not was the infrastructure. Yeah. People were driving around Boteman, people were seeing the Legon Stadium, and in their eyes, nothing was happening. What were some of the stories behind some of the delays that we encountered?
Good question. After we had won the bid in 2018, we had COVID. I think I don't want to talk too much about COVID. It's like belabored. Yeah. So we had the COVID. So Ghana did not do anything. And so we got inaugurated or established, the LOC was established or inaugurated by the president on the 12th of October 2020. So 1 and almost 2 years wasted. Yeah. Then we entered into the elections and all that, little attention on the African Games. And then, so we started meeting in November. So we started full work in 2021 in the official sections of the world. So those were the challenges. And then considering the amount of money we spent as a nation on COVID, there was not too much money to,
maneuver and get things done.
But what kept us going, and personally, me as the executive chairman, was the belief in the president, the belief he had in us, and his belief that we could do it.
Okay.
So anytime we met him, he said, look, despite everything, whether we have the money is there or it's not there, we will get it done. There was no way we'll be pulling out, and so it's our first opportunity, and we'll have to get it done.
That belief must have been strong. Yes. But there were the political issues with ANOCA, AU,
and even from the other side of the
and the president and some of you had to step in. What were the issues there?
Okay, it's another good point. A good question, I should say. ANOCA is the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa, and then the USA is Association of African Sports Confederation, or Association of Sports Confederations of Africa, AASC. Association of African Sports Confederation. The French version is USA. So there is 3 bodies, and then African Union. The African Union owns the games.
The games, yeah.
And so they came together to work out what transpired at Morocco, that is 2019, the 12th edition. They assigned various roles, owners. ANOCA was to look at the commercialization, the sponsorship aspect, and UXA or AASC to look at the technical aspect. They look at the technical people and all those things. And then African Union. So they had a blueprint. They had a tripartite agreement. The roles are signed. But then when Ghana won, African Union had a meeting with us, and then we signed a protocol agreement. And this really annoyed Anoka and UKSA. They had a point though, because African Union did not terminate the contract that they used for the 12th edition.
Okay.
So African Union should have terminated, and because they didn't do that, Anoka and UKSA decided to boycott the games. And also they were even threatening to take AU to CAS, for international arbitration. So we made the president aware, we brought them here, we tried, it didn't work out on 2 occasions. So on 1 occasion, we went back to the president, we said, look, this was marring the program. It was not helping us to even get sponsors, because there were threats that they will be boycotting, we will not have qualifiers for the Olympics and all that. It's actually, marred the beauty, the nature, and everything of the program. Sponsors were not interested to some extent. People were always in doubt whether we'll have the games or not, irrespective of the challenges we're having at home with regard to the facilities and all that. So on 1 occasion, I think it was 2 years, February 2022, he said, he called, we had a meeting. I told him what the challenges were. I said, okay, he was going to Addis Ababa for a program and African Union. So come along with us, and then we'll have a sideline meeting with African Union and all the stakeholders. We got there, and the president was able to resolve the issue. And what intrigued me, I've said it several times on several platforms, what intrigued me was the way the man sat, the president had the patience to sit down in a small room for 5 hours.
Wow.
Before we met. And a lot of people were shocked. African Union, everybody was shocked.
I mean, it's very clear that he really wanted the games to come on.
So we met because the chairman, Musa Faki, and they were busy doing that. So eventually, we got to cut a long story short. He demonstrated that. And if he had demonstrated that commitment to get the issues resolved and for us to have the games, how much less us?
Exactly.
Because we assigned the responsibility.
There are a few things Doc said in the course of the games and after the games. We'll go for a break. When we come back, I'll be reading a few to him, and maybe he can give us the opportunity to clarify some of them. Welcome back. Just before the break, Doc was telling us about how the president intervened in Ethiopia to ensure that the games come on, resolving all the political issues. And the games were actually a success. And there were a few things Doc said during and after the games. I would like to put them to him, and maybe he can clarify them for us. Doc, on the performance of Ghana at the games, you said that investing more in preparations of athletes could have won Ghana more medals than maybe what we had. And this is what you actually said. We shouldn't get carried away with this achievement, marvelous achievement, but we need to invest more to move to the next level. Don't you think that perhaps you were underestimating the level of work the athletes did? Because at some point, some people didn't even believe we'll have medals.
No. Yes, I mean, I think the quote I saw that it wasn't properly quoted. It was quoted maybe out of context. But that artist made. The gist of what I was trying to put across is that, we're jubilating. We haven't won such a number of medals, but they didn't know that we had even promised the president that we wanted to move to the 5th position on the medal table. I think the previous competition we were 12 or something. Yeah. So even though we placed 6th, even though we won medals, I must commend arm wrestling and the athletes who won medals. I personally think that considering the potentials, that we have, the athletes that we have in Ghana, I'm not limiting it to athletics, and I'm talking about athletes
sports,
in general. That this has been like a foundation, a watershed that we can build on. So if we can invest more going forward, we will perform in future.
Okay.
The reason also is that even when we're building the facilities, People were saying, why are you not wasting money? Why do this? Why do that?
Yeah.
But we were giving our athletes the opportunity to compete at home. And the support they had, also motivated them to a certain level. So I am saying that we have done this. It's a great achievement. I'm not belittling the achievement of the athletes, but I'm saying that if we can invest as we have done in facilities, in athletes, in all that, then we can grow our sports in Ghana.
I think that's fair. On the issue of legacy, you said that the transformative effect of hosting the African Games was evident in the acquisition of the state-of-the-art infrastructure. But people have also asked about maintenance. I mean, with the sort of expertise you have in sports, I see Boteman and my heart beats. How are you going to keep this so that 10 years to come, we won't have an Esipon like what we have in Second D? What do you think we can do to keep Esipon in the state that it is in now, 10 years to come? Boteman. I mean, I feel so bad about Esipon.
Yes, I catch your drift. I have been arguing for the PPP model, public-private
partnerships. Yeah.
I don't think that the National Sports Authority has the capacity, the resources, and what have you to maintain
Boteman. Okay.
And I've said it on a few platforms. People have really chastised me and lambasted me, but I stand by that we need to have a model that can sustain Boteman. I'm giving you an example. You mentioned Esipon. Many people have accosted me and they have cited Tamale, Esipon, and all that.
Even Cape Coast is getting to that point.
And I remember, and I'm saying this, at that time, when we were getting ready to host the
Kantuo
8, the Minister of Sports, may he so rest in peace,
Kwaku.
No, Kojo Banridu.
Kojo Banridu, rather. Okay.
Yes, Kojo Banridu. I was advising him from afar. People didn't know that I was advisor when I was in London.
Yeah.
So I arranged for him to come to London. I took him to the old stadium of Arsenal. And I said, have a look at this. This is how you can run a grass sports stadium to sustain it. It is not only on Sundays that you generate resources. No.
Yeah.
Conferences, meetings, what have you. That is how you run modern stadia to sustain them. But if you leave it to only Sundays, forget
it's going to rot.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that bring in the private people. Let them have a relationship with government. Let them have a partnership. Let them run the place as a business model, as a business facility. Because when you go to look at the swimming pool, you need to really have money to sustain. You need to have money to sustain those facilities. People should not just walk in there and have it for free.
Okay.
In our country, for instance, those who can afford rather go in there and they go in for free.
Yeah.
And I think that we should shift away from the freebies to be able to put in money and make sure that the facilities are well maintained. You can go in there on a Sunday. It can be a tourist center. People are coming in with their children. You create a situation where people come in with their kids. People don't get time these days for the family. It should be a family outing on Sunday. You go in there. The children have a place to play. There's a playground there. We can we can push it to the level required. You can create places for coaches who will be taking these the children through. So your child on Sunday will say, Dad, I want to go to Boteman. Because when he gets there, he will have something to do. You have entertainment section. You have a place for you and the wife and the husband to sit and chat, to have a drink out and all that. That is the model I am thinking of.
Okay.
So that you can have maybe a team come from outside to say, I'm going to do my
training camp or something here.
Yeah. Because we have a field there.
Yeah.
And we are going to also push it to the next level.
Okay.
So I am saying that let's go in for this PPP model, get the right people to run the place.
As the conversation is getting exciting, time will not allow us to continue. But we promise you a second part of this show. And so I would say thank you for joining us for this edition. Hopefully next week we'll come back with a continuation of this interesting conversation with Dr. Kwaku Ofosu Asare. Thank you.
Pcgtv. In thy light, there is light.
And it's over. Great resilience.
From our homes to our offices, to the marketplaces, even to our schools,